no break. Hosta mefta cinco basta. Hosta mefta juvre. Rishi labir groove snores lagil kor. Rishi labir usas nos dovre. Hosta mefta cinco basta. Hosta mefta juvre. Rishi labir groove snores lagil kor. Rishi labir usas nos norbrek.
Yazor, why yazor, go, if not.
Zipa putekano solo, puštikane ono, zipa plufa torpos de vei. Zumba coito nisi, ristra music roj de play. Zika kumpa jumba noro, kumpa jumba hero, kumpa jumba opposite way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Stardate. The middle of the day on Saturday. Our continuing mission. Just keep playing this game wrong as we increase episode count. Usually just with me and Lauren here. Hi everybody, and welcome to a very fun session of our Star Trek Adventures, sort of like mini games following the USS Noteworthy. How are you doing today, Lauren?
Super good.
Wonderful. So for those who sort of don't know what's going on, we do a monthly sort of like full cast Star Trek Adventures game, and but we also are going to be doing these kind of like unplanned, just kind of whenever it fits in our schedule, Star Trek sort of like more casual games where it's kind of like a hybrid between an actual game and just kind of like kicking around some ideas and such. We've done a couple of these already, and the first time we did it, it was just a full game because we had Lauren and Dan here, and it was like whatever. Last week we did a bit more of a casual one, but it was still largely a thing. This is like honestly sort of experimental. So today, in order to try to like get us to break the mold a bit, I've scheduled and announced and everything. We are doing 2 episodes today. So imagine that this is like an afternoon binge on Netflix or now on Paramount Plus of like a couple
not
episodes
sponsored.
here. Yeah, not sponsored. Yeah, I mean, nothing sponsored. So yeah, kind of imagine that this is a couple of episodes, and we're gonna like make some rolls and chance will determine some things. We're just kind of this like more casual playthrough, and I think another thing that will sort of help with the vibe being different is the first time we did one of these casual games, Dan was here, and I said this is a Senec episode. And last week we did a Vale episode because we had Lauren here. And I still want to do like character-specific episodes with all of our players when we have the chance. But neither of today's games are Vale-centric games. She will not be the sort of primary character in either one. So Lauren's actually going to be doing a lot of rolling on behalf of some of our various NPCs, which is kind of a different vibe. So I'm kind of excited to sort of do that. As such, we're not going to be... Listen, we're still going to... Are we going to do act breaks? We will, of course, still do act breaks. I even have a couple new screens for the act breaks that we can try. None of them are straight up commercials, but, you know, baby steps. Yeah, so we have a couple of episodes to get through here, and I'm excited to sort of see how we go through this stuff. I'm gonna ask what sounds like a dumb question, but but this is actually true of how a lot of like Star Trek production would go down, especially in the 90s. Do you want to do episode 1.5 first or 1.6 first? You know how like sometimes they'll shoot them out of order? Yeah.
Yeah, you know, Firefly ruined out of order things.
Well, they aired them out of order, which is also Star Trek would do sometimes. But like the Star Trek stuff, there were a lot of instances of like, well, we had to shoot this one like really rapidly because you know like it's like sounds like a mess is what it sounds like. Okay, well yeah, then we'll just do 1.5.
I'm boring.
You know that's not boring. I mean, I don't think it's boring. I think it's certainly easier, but also not really because I'm just going to post the descriptions of them in both places. What's the last Star Trek thing you watched?
We're cycling through Next Gen again, and I'm trying to remember because I like fall asleep to it.
Sure. I saw it.
So I don't know. Oh, by the way, sorry if I'm the one to announce this to you, but the woman who played Kai Wen passed away. For those of y'all in the audience, I told you last night.
You did.
She passed away last night.
Well,
R.I.P. to the actress. Kai Wen can go.
That actress kind of
Throw herself into a wormhole.
That actress made a career of sort of playing very unlikable. It's what she won an Oscar for.
I know, for One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, right?
That is true.
Nurse Ratched.
And then I think she was in the sequel, 2 Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, but she wasn't in 3 Flew Judgment Day.
Oh God. I was like, wait, there's a sequel? No. I am gullible.
I think there actually is a sequel. But
yeah, Louise Fletcher. She is such a fantastic actress. I like how this random piece of wood, it's a pillow, is showing up on my screen. But she was an incredible actress. I hate Kai Wen. I hate her so much.
I'm sorry.
Well, it's okay. She's not. Oh, she's not coming back.
Well, that's grim but true. Last Star Trek thing I watched was about 15 minutes ago while finishing an early lunch. I was watching an episode of DS9 called The Collaborator. The end of episode 2 with at the time Vedic Win. She was very. I literally turned it off as Vedic Win was saying to she was gaslighting Captain Sisko and saying, "Well, I've not been opposed to you, Captain Sisko." And he's like, "Last time you were here, you said I was an enemy to the Bajoran people." She's like, "I've always just said you're testing us." So.
Praise the prophet.
Episode 1 of Picard season 2 was the last Star Trek you watched. Yeah, season 2 is season 2 has some interesting elements to it. Of Picard. It makes some choices that are not universally beloved. I think it's probably maybe slightly more reviled than it should be, but
yeah. Well, every new Star Trek is.
That's true.
Especially on Twitter.
I don't think Strange New Worlds is reviled. I think people are just like, true. This is good.
Well, I've seen some stuff that is, and it's like they're mad about things that you shouldn't be mad about.
They're mad about non-Star Trek based things. Yeah, it is always funny to me when people are frustrated with Star Trek for being progressive. I always find that a very amusing.
This isn't what Roddenberry would want.
I'm like, well, I don't know. I mean, yeah, there's some it's both. I mean, just like Star Wars is such a metaphor for like, opposing fascism, and Star Trek is such a metaphor for just like hippy dippy, future whatever nonsense. It's just it's
almost socialism.
Yeah, it's just
provide for everyone.
Oh my god, it's just funny the what an
diversity, infinite.
Yeah, what an interesting read you have on this property. All right. Well, with that kind of all sort of being said and in mind, let's dive into the first of our episodes. And I'm not going to do though we will have some act breaks. I want to try one here where we don't actually break it down into acts in that sort of way.
Okay.
But this episode, a lot of people might be turning off their TVs when they get to these, depending on if the character is liked or not. This is a Dobbs episode. Lieutenant Marvin Dobbs is played by Brian Forster Tuscadero. So this is like a real power, it's like an episode where he's going to have a bigger sort of thing. And the way this one starts, so I'm actually going to ask you to make a couple rolls on behalf of Captain Harold Winter here.
Okay.
No, I'll take that back. I'll have you make some rolls for Dobbs. I have Dobbs' stats as well. But Dobbs is going to have to approach the captain to explain that his in-laws have requested that they have dinner. And he says that my in-laws, he's like, Captain, my in-laws sort of requested that the crew join us for dinner. They'd like to, some of the senior staff, that is, you and the commander and such, and the captain is kind of a bit surprised by this. Knowing, do I need to refresh you on Dobbs and his vibe and his stuff? He's the operations officer.
No, I'm familiar with Dobbs.
So Dobbs at this point, the audience won't sort of know this. Dobbs is being particularly awkward here. What do you think Dobbs would do when the captain is kind of like we can certainly allow you to have a dinner, but our schedules are very busy, Mr. Dobbs? Would Dobbs push the issue? Would he kind of, knowing what you know of the character, he'll kowtow to that immediately?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I do think he would see whoever else who is of higher rank could attend.
Okay, so in other words, I understand what this teaser is. It's Dobbs asking the captain and being like, okay, gotcha. So now Dobbs,
going down the race.
So now Dobbs will. So that cuts to Dobbs approaching Grace Maxwell. Mm-hmm. Dobbs will sort of make a plea to Grace Maxwell. I'll tell you what. Would you please make a roll for Dobbs? I'm going to have this be using his presence, which is 7, and his command, which is 2. So it's a 9.
So I got a 6 and a 13.
6 and a 13. So you actually have 1 success on Grace Maxwell. But Grace Maxwell will accept. She's kind of like, oh, I've never. Are your in-laws? Are they? She'll sort of like, are your in-laws like important? Are they? And he's, oh, they're very. Yeah, they're pretty. And she'll say, okay, well, I suppose, yeah, I can meet them for dinner. They're coming aboard the ship. And he says, oh, maybe we'll. I don't know what'll happen. Whatever. And she says, okay, sure, I can join. Would he keep going after getting Maxwell?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Then he
wants
moves.
to impress his in-laws.
Then he moves down the list to Lieutenant Commander Simon Giles. Can you shout a question? It's okay if not. Go and shout a question. Hi everyone. Like we said, casual games. These are meant to be a bit more, I'm trying to get through 2 of them to see if we could turn the whatever down just conceptually. So I'm gonna skip 1 below this. No, I can't, because I'll skip 2 below this. Dobbs is also going to go and check with Lieutenant Commander Senek. Neither of those succeeds, so Senek declines as well.
Yes. Giles would say yes.
Okay, yeah, he and Giles are kind of buddies. Now, what about Counselor Quincy Vale?
Has he spoken with her about his in-laws?
Let's actually role play this one. Ooh, okay. Has he ever done it? I'm going to leave that up to a different thing. He has never mentioned. You know that he's married. You know that his wife is currently aboard, but he has never talked. He's just talked about his in-laws, feeling a lot of pressure from them. But he talks his sessions with you. He's saying so much you can never It's hard
to get it out.
Yeah. But he will sort of approach you, so we will actually fully RP this one.
Okay.
Hey, a counselor. Where is the counselor? What's a fun place for her to be?
Fun? I don't know. In the bar. What is it called?
Oh, Full Impulse.
Full Impulse. That's such a good bar name.
I thank you. I'm happy with it. I'm really happy with it. And I feel like the first time I said it, people were like weird, and I was mad at them. So he'll kind of, counselor. Hi, counselor. Hi. Oh gosh. Oh boy. Had a quick question for you. Are you free tonight? Ooh. Also, You don't have to be free tonight. You could have like you could be declining because of plans.
Well, I'm so sorry, Dobbs. Aren't you're married? And
Yeah, exactly. I'm married. I'm yeah. I'm just if you're are you around tonight? Because the captain can't and Senate can't, but
okay. It's something you're inviting everyone to. Okay.
no, not everyone, just the senior staff. I just
What's going on?
I'm having. I'm sorry. Sorry, counselor.
Okay.
I'm having dinner with. I gotta have dinner with my in-laws. We just found out we're having dinner with my in-laws tonight. And I thought maybe they should meet some of the impressive people I work with.
Would it make you feel more comfortable to have me there?
I mean, just honestly, it's just kind of numbers game at this point. I just want the pips. I'm just looking for pips.
I'm gonna have you take a little breath here.
Okay, sorry. I just the captain. I was really hoping to get the captain. It's kind of boy.
He's a busy man.
Well, yeah, that's true. He's very busy.
Yeah. Well, I do have something, but I think I could move it around if it's important.
Oh gosh, I can't ask you to move anything around. That's too much. I can't do that. That's like,
you know what?
Oh boy.
It's not a big deal. Where are you gonna have your dinner? In your quarters or?
Yeah, we'll probably be going off vessel.
Oh.
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
They'll probably be hosting. I hope. Okay. Well, cool. Thanks. I'll address nice. I'll see you at 2000 hours. 2000 hours. Just meet in my just come to my quarters. Come to my quarters. Okay. And he just heads
Sounds
out.
good. Hey, Dobbs.
Yeah.
Breathe. Okay.
Okay. Ha.
See you later.
Bye-bye. Dobbs goes to Dobbs then asks Senek, who is busy meditating, and says, I see no logic in accepting this invitation. Dobbs goes, that's fair. And then Dobbs will go over to Alina Vial. I'm gonna roll this. I won't really ever have you like RP other PCs, sometimes we'll stuff.
Yeah.
He will try this. Vial declines. So no Senek, no Vial, no Captain, but Maxwell, Giles, and Counselor Vale will all come. Also, and then it's a comedic button. As Dobbs is sort of walking down the thing, Grim sort of pops out and goes, Are you having a big fancy dinner tonight, Lieutenant? Lieutenant goes, yeah, I am. Okay, bye. And he walks, and Grim goes, oh. And he looks at the little bow tie that he replicated for himself. And he throws it in the replicator trash, goes into the holodeck to stab some stuff. So, at this point, Counselor Quincy Vale and Grace Maxwell. Grace Maxwell is done up. She looks very nice. She's kind of, put on her sort of like she's not in uniform, kind of based on what Dobbs said. Quincy get super dressed up or just kind of like normal dressed up? Okay.
Like nice, yeah.
Grace Maxwell's like in like date. She's like in like Riker date attire. You understand?
Yeah.
And
Is she dressed as Minuet?
wait, hold on. Yeah, I might have just watched that. Wait.
She's
Yeah.
the epitome of like early 90s
I
body.
do
in a weird
remember
way.
Minuet. Ha ha.
I want to cosplay her so bad, but I can't pull off the 90s.
I totally remember Minuet.
I might do a take on her.
Oh my god. No, she's not dressed like Minuet. She's dressed a little more whatever. But so basically everybody gathers kind of outside of his quarters. We'll say that Vale dresses like casually, nicely. Maxwell dresses up, assuming it's a thing. She sees Vale, and you honestly see her go, "Oh, like, ooh, am I overdressed?" Then Giles comes in uniform with like grease stains.
Giles, are you ready to go?
Yeah, I'm coming to dinner, I guess, right?
Did he not tell you that we're supposed to be a little dressed up?
It's my uniform. I thought it's no. Okay. Well, should I not come in? At this point, the doors open, and you see Dobbs say, "Oh, come in! Hey, everyone! Oh, great!" And Dobbs is wearing kind of like a very silly-looking, fancy sort of robe. His wife comes out to meet you all. Her name is Liana. Liana Dobbs, and she kind of says, "Oh, hello, welcome so much to our quarters. Hi, everyone." And she'll kind of come and like greet her, like, hi. Giles in uniform. Liana Dobbs welcomes them. She says, "Oh, thank you all so much for coming. I hope it's not too much of an imposition. I just want to apologize for my parents in advance. They can be kind of, it can be a lot." And Maxwell says, "Oh, not a problem. Are they here?" And she goes, "Oh, they'll be here soon, I think. You've told them everything, honey." And Marvin goes, "What? Yeah, I think so. Wait. Yeah, wait. Oh my God, I'm gonna change my cufflinks." And he runs in, and then he looks at Giles and says, get out of uniform, man." He's just kind of gonna put Giles into some of his clothes. Liana just is kind of like straightening her hair repeatedly in the mirror. Oh.
Well, Liana, I will say we were just, and I'll look over at Grace. I was just told to dress nicely and that we would be going off ship for dinner. Was there anything else we needed to keep in mind?
She sort of freezes and turns around and looks at the two of you. Kind of, she's wearing like a pretty nice dress herself. It's kind of like a gold lame like toga, like with a clasp at the top. Her hair kind of in an updo, and she's and at that point, you all kind of like feel like reality warping, and then suddenly you disappear in this like kind of white burst, and you suddenly find yourselves standing amidst clouds. As the four of you, or the five of you are like standing amidst clouds. There's like this massive table filled with like all sorts of decadent foods and fruits piled high, and like giant goblets of like overflowing wine. And you see these two like burning orbs of light in the sky saying, "Welcome home, daughter." And that is where the credits start. So, Space, the Final Frontier. These. Oh, fuck, damn! Hold on.
I wonder what state of undress Giles is in.
Oh, that's amazing! Roll. I will have you roll for those guys. Roll for me to get into clothes. Poor Simon Giles. That would be a fitness meets command. So roll 2d20. You're trying to beat an 11.
Oh, 12 and a 3. So
he managed. He's not naked. He's got like they were just like testing sizes. So he's got like a tuxedo jacket on over his uniform. But anyway, it's Space, the Final Frontier. These are the voyages of the Starship Noteworthy, continuing mission to bring together strange new cultures, to promote peace and understanding, and to spread a message of diplomacy through the Federation and beyond. And while that's happening, there's planets like, and then you see all the names: Ethan Douglas Jorkins Jr., Valerie Darcy, Zane Lauren Dan Liv, Lyle Brian Forster Tuscadero as Marvin Dobbs. This is the Dobbs episode, and Marie Fortenberry as Grimm. And from there, I'm not going to do them every time. Act break. Ooh, see, it just went to black. That time it wasn't a thing. It just was like, ooh, black, and then it's back.
Yeah.
Oh, so anyway, you have been taken to this place. Ooh, and at this point, the title of the episode comes up. In-Laws of Infinity.
Oh, boy. This sounds cute-ish.
So at this point, it is revealed that Liana is a human, but was raised by these two entities who I didn't actually come up with what they should be called. Let's roll the old alphabet ring. We'll call them, Liana was raised by star gods of Izuria.
I love that, though.
These are the star gods of Izuria. So basically, over the course of these sort of next couple of acts, you've all been teleported to this place, and it's it's kind of like a sort of an awkward dinner. So Act 1 is an awkward dinner where Dobbs is trying to impress these like interdimensional beings who raised his wife for a while. They do of course appear then. First they're just balls of light, then they appear as actors in like Greek god clothing, kind of doing stuff. There is definitely some cue overlap because they'll gesture and like things will appear like dancers and things, but they don't seem to have like that full sort of like cue, like control all of reality. It's more they're very styling themselves like in Greek god type ways.
Yeah. Would I have any insight into this culture since I have anthropology as a focus?
I'll tell you what, Vale can make a roll on that, that's fine, but I'm gonna have you make rolls on other people's behalfs more than Vale.
Okay, 16 and 9.
A 16 and 9 with a do that a reason. I think the 9 would get you. This isn't like an alien culture. These are some weird other sort of like entities. These are larger things, so you don't have like a good read on them. But basically, Maxwell seems very happy to be here, sort of talking to such beings. Like, oh, okay, cool. The father's name is Patronus, and the mother's name is Umbria. And they basically, we'll say that Act 1 is largely just this dinner. And you all get the impression that Dobbs, they make a lot of snide comments about how, like, Dobbs, how we are so excited that our daughter Liana has chosen to dwell with mortals aboard a starship, marrying herself to a man who is not in control of even this starship, even this small kingdom. She did not choose even that kind of a petty despot. Instead, she chose a thoroughly small man with a modest amount of responsibility.
Well, every member of the ship has a role, and the captain wouldn't be able to captain the ship without the rest of us.
Precisely.
Vital to the...
Dobbs is what are those things that these beings have? A kidney. Yes, a kidney. Yes, to the kidney. So Dobbs feels very awkward. And Liana is like, no, well, Dobbs is like, we're very happy. At this point, we'll say an act. So basically, we're setting up the awkwardness of that. There is an act break here. I'm not going to do them every time. I'll do one more. Okay, act break. So basically, as we sort of go through at this dinner, we introduce another one of these star gods. Mm-hmm. He is an incredibly handsome, athletic guy. Just like a really like muscular. I don't even know what actor it would be. Just point being, he shows up. His name is Avensis. And it's clear the parents want her to marry Avensis. Or they're like Avensis is like an ex or something. And Dobbs is just like heads and hands, whatever. Dobbs is jealous. We will say, however, that Avensis I'll do a brief moment of possible escalation. And I'll roll for Vale as well. Or I'll roll for Maxwell. Is Vale what are Vale? So basically, Avensis is like who's like a super muscular actor, who's like a really well like built formed dude.
I guess Chris Hemsworth.
Hemsworth, he's already plays a god.
That's a little on the nose, though.
Yeah. Okay. Well, point is, he's like that sort of like this like real like super handsome square jawed build.
Yeah.
Does Vale want to? Like,
I hate to say it, but Army Hammer.
Sure, it's fine. Avensis has definitely eaten a lady. So that tracks. So who would? What do you think Vale's? Do you think Vale is intrigued by this gentleman?
Yeah, but not in. She can spot red flags.
Understood.
So...
Tell you what, then I'll let Vale roll a. This will be a security and an insight, so a 12.
Okay, I rolled a 3 into 17.
3 to 17. So one success. Yeah. So you kind of have a certain degree of like, probably not. We'll see Maxwell's security and insight. I'm gonna roll the same thing for her. Well, her score is way higher than yours for that because of her stupid high security. She also kind of they decline. Vale and Maxwell decline his advances, so that will sort of cut off that possible complication. In any event, Liana sort of talks about how like she wishes she could spend more time with her parents, but it's such things are complicated for her, and like she's like she can't be away from the mortal world. She has responsibilities, and her parents say, responsibilities, the foolishness of the mortal world. Star gods have no responsibilities. We can do as we please. And but basically, the upshot here, I think you understand what we're getting to, is she's going to say like it's a shame you can't come, or maybe let's have Dobbs say it's a shame you guys can't come stay with us on the ship, and they say, oh, we could, and thus you all return to the quarters. Only now Umbria and Patronus are present.
Well, it's so lovely to have you on the ship. You'll be able to see how we all work together for the success of the ship. Isn't
All
that
right.
right, Dobbs?
Oh boy. Act break. I'm liking these. I like the little black screen act breaks. Okay, so, we've set up some amusing stuff. We've set up a dynamic, and now we've escalated it. We've met Avensis, Patronus, and Umbria. Avensis is not coming. There's also there will be like weird comments of like she's like, no, I wouldn't have married Avensis. Isn't he like your son? Isn't he kind of my like brother? And they're like, we star gods have no care for such mortal hangups, etc. Umbria is my mother and also my sister.
Oh no!
She was pulled out of the brain of the dying star god. Greek mythology is weird. Anyway, at this point, we're gonna do a little more. We're gonna like we can make some rolls and think about some things, but let's think about not only from where the characters are, but like let's consider some possible escalations of complexity here. Obviously, these star gods on the ship are going to cause a bit of complication. I don't know, what do you, let's think not only of Vale, but like what would some of the other characters, like how do you think the captain would reply to this?
He strikes me as the type who would have been really into Greek mythology.
Okay.
Specifically Zeus. So I think he'd be intrigued by these beings and actually decide that he might want to talk with them.
Okay, cool. Maybe the captain sort of seeing the notability of this kind of thing. However, the captain is going to roll a 20 on his roll, which is a complication. The complication will be Umbria falls in love with him. So there's shades of a lot of stuff. There's a little bit of Luxwana Troy. This is a little of like the Q Who situation. Like there's we're sprinkling and remixing, but there's this vibe of like Dobbs and his wife Liana and the weirdness here. So Umbria is falling for the captain, and so basically Act 3 is going to be the hijinks aboard the ship as systems start malfunctioning.
Naturally.
We'll also say that, meanwhile, Patronus views Grimm as some mythological creature, like, oh, you are one of the demons of the abyss. You know, he kind of like, he's like, of the Stygian, like he thinks he's a demon, and he starts chasing Grimm around the ship. Until Vial's trying to stop that. So basically, there's numerous levels of complexity. And then we'll say that we'll have kind of Giles is dealing with all the malfunctions. He's even having to pick up the slack for Dobbs. That's kind of funny.
Yeah.
Should Avensis show up as well, still courting?
Of course.
Okay. Is he only he's courting?
Hijinks.
And then Avensis shows up to court Liana. Okay, so basically,
but also probably every other woman on the ship.
And every woman on the ship.
I think that seems very Star Trek.
All right. So what's kind of like what's a thing that could happen here to like make stuff like even more problem, like what's like a thing to like raise the stakes?
Women start falling for him.
Oh, okay. Should we say every woman on the ship falls in love with him?
Sure, if it's like the TOS love flower thing.
Exactly.
Situation. Yeah.
So basically, at that point, Avensis, frustrated by being spurned,
This is a good episode.
tries to make Liana fall for him, but instead every woman on the ship falls in love with him. And Maxwell. So there's Maxwell and Vale like fighting each other to get at him and all that kind of, shenanigans. Meanwhile, Umbria is like trying to get with the captain, who's like, this is preposterous. So the captain has really lost control. Maxwell, okay, so perfect. So stuff is kind of going crazy. Act 4, act break. And it's back. So Act 4 involves further escalations. Tell you what, we'll say that every woman falls in ship with Avensis at the end of Act 3. So Act 4 is women fighting over Avensis, which means basically Vale, Maxwell, and Vial are totally out of decision making because they're women. So this episode has a good, strong message.
Feminism.
Captain is too busy fending off Umbria. We'll say that Giles is just literally trying to keep the ship together because like wine grapes are growing out of the engines.
But I don't want to speak for him, but I can assume that he would also be very hurt and wondering how he can do this as well.
Oh, also super jealous of Avensis. He's changed a bit though since that second episode. He's kind of
but
he's probably,
you can't avoid your true nature.
I'm gonna change super jealous to somewhat jealous of Avensis. And then so basically as stuff's kind of going crazy, so Vale, Maxwell, Vial are out, he's out. I'm going to say that Patronus turns Senec into a marble statue because he's so logical. Like he tries to do that and he says, if you are a logical man, then an unyielding stone you shall be. And Senec's like a statue. So the point being, at this point, as Act 4 went crazy, and Grim, and so basically so Grim is in this like fighting. So Grim's fighting with Tornus. She's going for Umbria. The only person here who is left unaffected by this, and Lyanna is stressed. Oh, and we'll also say Act 4 ends with a fight between Lyanna and Dobbs, obviously.
Uh-huh.
Okay. So, here's Dobbs's values.
Ooh.
What do you think? I wonder what this third one could possibly mean. Dobbs's values are: please don't let this be my fault. The answer is definitely in the manual. Fake it till you make it. And this last one, I genuinely don't know where this came from when I rolled up this character. Tastes just like the real thing.
Huh.
I wonder how that was a value based on where he's from or what happened in his past.
Did he perhaps live on a vineyard?
He did not. He grew up in a science and technology upbringing. But
Okay.
I think it's probably tastes just like the real thing. It's probably like something about like maybe replicators are, you know, like just like trust in technology over other things or something. Oh, and yes, James from Texas, Umbria is basically a deity level Loxana Troy. There also is a book from the old Star Trek Live that's called Q in Law, where Loxana nearly marries Q. And they got John Delancey and Majel Barrett to for the audiobook. They do their voices. They do the character voices for the audiobook. Yeah. Anyway, so based on those values, what could the fight with Dobbs and Lyanna, his wife, be? What are Marvin and Lyanna fighting about?
I think that Wait, what has Dobbs been doing this whole time? Is he hiding?
No, Dobbs is... Oh, yes. Okay, Dobbs is hiding.
Yeah, because she would be like, why are you not standing up for us?
Okay.
Not her, but their relationship. And that's something that she's resented about him. Not him, and not who he is, just the fact that he doesn't stand up for their relationship.
Understood. So we'll even say that is a... Yeah, okay. We'll say that this is a please don't... I'm gonna invoke please don't let this be my fault. As he realizes this is his fault. Because he invited them to the ship, and his lack of stuff. So Act 5...
Well, her saying that makes him realize that it's his fault because he's never defended their relationship, while her parents are constantly like, he's just a little man.
Exactly.
Why did she marry him?
So at that point...
This goes deep.
Act break. And we're back. And James from Texas, yes, it is a Peter David book. So basically, as they sort of... Act 5, we won't go into super detail, but Act 5 will be Dobbs standing up to the star gods.
Good for him.
We'll say Grimmick... We'll say he helps Grimmick defeat Patortus.
Can he use his other value to make all of the grapes that were growing in the systems into wine? I just think that would be fun.
Into wine?
Yeah.
Why?
Like, just because that's a Star Trek thing. Like, what do we do with all these grapes?
Oh, Patornus turns the ball to wine.
Or, yeah, sure.
Oh, well, because Dobbs doesn't have the ability to, turn the... He can replicate wine.
It could be like his idea, because he's always tasting things and being like, but this is the real thing.
I think taste such like the real thing is supposed to be like an evocative phrase for a philosophy, where like this is if it's like it's close enough. It's like a fake version, like a fake relationship's good enough. It's not about literal tasting.
I think literally. Sarah Quill is still in my... I'm sorry.
We'll
Sarah
say,
Renee.
but we will say that Patornus turns all the grapes to wine as tribute and toast with Grimmick, or with Grim. So they have a thing. Dobbs gets Avensis to let go of the women and to not be a creep. And Avensis says he finally respects him Avensis will be like, sorry to control your minds, ladies. Any of you still want to have a go?
No.
Ah. Haha. Your loss. Blinks out back to the star realms in a weird cloud of Olympian smoke. And then, of course, Umbria, Dobbs just, tells Umbria to get off the captain. Off the captain.
Also,
sends her away.
I would like to say that Vale would like to immediately begin researching a psychological defense against
Sure.
things like that.
Understood.
That's another thing she's going to put in the works because she absolutely does not want that happening to her or anyone else.
So basically, she's like, this is Maxwell's like thoroughly upset. Maxwell's, of course, and you're all in togas, obviously. But at that point, Dobbs, they say, very well, we'll leave. The captain kind of does of course, he's not Picard, so he doesn't do the like Picard trying to get Luxwana to leave. He's just like, he's like, yes, Captain probably isn't even involved. So basically, Dobbs gets them all to leave. Liana kisses him. She's excited. And the episode ends with Dobbs and Liana hosting Vale, Giles, and Maxwell for a normal dinner in their quarters.
Aww.
That's a good episode.
Yeah. And I think we finally figured out the format of these. I need to stop trying to roleplay so much in these.
No, it's not. There's no. We're figuring it out. We're trying to do this one because like this one we only spent about like 35-40 minutes on. Actually less because I don't think we started because we were talking about other stuff for so long. So very good. So that's episode 1.5. That's a fun episode. I like that episode.
I know.
It
See, that would be an episode that I would go to when I'm stressed because it's fun and funny. Not very feminist, but
Oh, well, no one believe me.
It was the 90s. It was a different time.
If there's one thing no one's ever called you, it's a feminist.
True.
So with that, we're going to take a brief. We're now going to take a brief,
commercial break.
Yeah, we'll take a brief break. Oh, but shoot, now I don't know that I have. Yeah, hold on. We're gonna do a brief break that is a not an act break, like a break, because I just have to run and pee real quick. Do you want to stay on talking to the internet, or should I go to the screen? Stay on talk to the internet.
Hi, internet. I don't know if anyone's in the chat right now, but how is everyone's weekend going? Good? Great. Mine's going good too. Am I doing anything today? I don't know. Good, James. I'm glad you're doing good this weekend. I should have just had him put up the screen. So, sorry about this. In the meantime, we have other wonderful games going on. On Sunday, we have Crude Matter. On Monday, which is Star Wars. On Monday, we have. Wait, no, that was. Oh no, that was in the past. I'm not good at managing this by myself when it's not already on something that I am actively talking about, just bringing up random things. What is it? It's a More Wretched Hive on Sunday, Civilization on Monday. We play too many games.
Oh boy.
Was I in your ear the whole time?
Yeah. Oh boy. Well, you said some things there. It's fun. It's fun. Man, I really like episode 1.5 that we just did.
I do
That was a
too.
good one. See,
It was.
so far I keep doing this and be like, we should have played this with the whole group. That would have been a fun one to play with everybody.
But it wouldn't have ended up the same.
That's true. Because that's the thing. When we just describe them like this and say, what's this act? What's this act? Things can wind up being much kind of tighter and cleaner and a little more feel like a synopsis of an episode. And that's another goal for these, is that I want the synopses of these to be only like a paragraph or two. I think that one already is even more detailed. So for this episode 1.6, I might even want to go a bit more focused. Like even less. I mean, we'll do some like, I think it's great to do like a bit of role play, but not even each act. Like we just do a couple of role play scenes.
Yeah, like if there's a good opportunity for a one-liner.
So, with that in mind, would you I would like for you I know the concept for this one. I didn't figure out kind of like what the sort of stuff is. So, we focused on Dobbs.
We did.
I have an idea for a Grimm episode, but this is not the title that I've already given, so I don't want to do Grimm.
Okay.
Although this could, I guess actually, I'm going to tell you the episode title. And I want you to say if this is a Grimm, Captain Harold Winter, or Commander Grace Maxwell episode.
Okay.
Who's it focused on? The title. Counter Prime.
The Grace. Maxwell.
It's a Maxwell episode.
Yeah.
I like Maxwell. Cool. All right. So, this episode will begin with Maxwell, you know, as she often does, kind of, you know, we'll kind of build on what we did in your Veil episode. Starts with Maxwell like negotiating some like trade deal, even just like over like comms or whatever, you know, like so glad we were able to be this or like finalizing a negotiation. But she will get an alert. So it's basically showing that she's kind of become, you know, more adept at all of the at all of like the sort of diplomacy stuff that you sort of, that Vale kind of encouraged her to follow up on. But there is an alert on the bridge. She goes to the bridge, and the captain says, "Mr. Dobbs, report." Dobbs will say, "It looks like, sir, it looks like it looks like there's going to be a what's it? Here we go. Let's group this out in chat. If you, James from Texas, if you want to throw that out there, please do. What is what's a fun way for a planet, like all life on a planet, to be threatened? We want to go asteroid. We want to go like solar flare. It can't be supernova because the planet. It has to be something that the ship could prevent. In a.
How capable is our ship though? Like, would it be able to correct an atmospheric disturbance or something?
Sure. Okay. We'll say there's going to be a major.
Unless James has something, if he's still present.
I like atmospheric disturbance because that requires you guys to get really close.
Yeah, or environmental disaster. Ooh, an atmospheric disturbance caused by an environmental disaster.
Okay. Okay, yeah, so we'll say there's an atmospheric disturbance caused by...
Maybe we figure out the disaster later. Sure.
Some sort of like extreme weather fluctuations, etc. So there's all this stuff of like what's about to happen. This planet is about to be destroyed. And kind of the captain's asking like, what is the planet? They're like, oh, this planet's uncharted. You know, it's like, oh, well, you're on a survey mission, okay?
Yeah.
While on a survey in new space, Maxwell finds negotiation via subspace. Gets called to the bridge. It's extreme weather fluctuations. However, Dobbs looks up and says, "Captain, wait. This planet is heavily populated." The captain says, there's definite signs of intelligent life, sir. And he starts bringing up like kind of like long-range scans. And you see that this is a planet that is technologically very advanced, but is two things: pre-warp and exceedingly violent.
Ooh, prime directive violation coming in. Maybe.
It is just pre-warp. It's warp cusp. We'll call it on the cusp of warp.
Can that be an episode?
Warp on the cusp of warp.
On
Sure.
the cusp of warp.
The cusp of warp, and seems extremely violent. And the captain says, "What are these?" Like, the captain's like, "What are these explosions?" And he says, "They're firing nuclear blasts in the sky to try to prevent the stuff, Captain. They're incredibly violent." Oh, that's not. He's like, "Captain, they're violent. But they're pre-warp." And it ends on Maxwell's face. Like, she's like, "Now, space, the final frontier. These are the voyages of blah 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 blah." And this ship, as the Noteworthy, promotes peace and understanding, and to spread about absolute potency for the Federation and beyond. And at that point, we see the stuff of Ethan Douglas Jones Jr., Valerie Darcy as Grace Maxwell. I just wanted to get to her name, and then we go through everybody. Murray Fortenberry as Grimm.
Yeah.
Da 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 da. Okay. Act break. On Act 1, we now bring up that title I already told you, Counter Prime. I think that this act, and I'm actually going to have you role-play Maxwell a bit here, because obviously Vale will make her sort of assumptions and things. You kind of get Maxwell's vibe, right? You kind of get
I think
her.
so.
Yeah. And now that I told you actress references for her, you were like, oh, that's not who I was thinking at all. Had you ever figured out who you were thinking for Maxwell?
No.
The actress reference I gave is probably not quite old enough.
See, the only person that comes to my mind is Kate Mulgrew because of Janeway.
Oh, interesting.
But a little younger.
I'm gonna stick with who I said in that case. I'll stick.
Who
with
was it again?
Adria Arjona. I'm gonna stick with her. And interestingly, I'd thought of her before Andor. So there you go. Everyone leave me alone.
I haven't watched Andor yet.
Well, that's okay. Also, this is a Star Trek one, so why are either of us talking about Andor? So, I'm going to say that Act 1 is going to largely be the somewhat expected discussion of... kind of two discussions will be happening in parallel. The captain will sort of say, I think this is a violation of the Prime Directive for us to interfere in this case. For all we know, this problem is sort of man-made. Maxwell will say... she thinks that is probably true. And actually, what is Maxwell's take on this? I have a thought, but that is yes. Maxwell is someone who says we need to. She's like, we need to know if it is a humanoid caused disaster. If she needs to know how close they are to warp, she wants all the information before. The captain basically says, captain just wants to skip it. Wants to let it happen because of Prime Directive. Maxwell wants way more information.
Yeah.
So basically what happens here is the first act is kind of an information gathering in which Giles and Dobbs kind of go through sort of the science data to determine what's causing this, and if it could even be stopped. Whereas Vial and Maxwell go through the cultural information on this culture to sort of get more of a read on them.
Would Vale be a part of this? Considering...
Sure. I mean, she's not in every episode. I mean, she's not
Yeah.
But sure.
But she does have a focus in an anthropology.
That is true. Fair enough. Vale could be there. Okay, in that case, Vale, because you're there.
I'm not trying to make it about me, but she does have that focus.
I just feel like Vale should have a bigger part in this one. All right, Vale, for that reason, let's do an anthropology roll.
Okay.
The difficulty on this, I'm going to give you, this is something actually one of our viewers was telling me how, obviously when we're doing these games, things are even way more stuff, but typically we do start with tell you what, we're going to start with a difficulty 0 anthropology to get your general vibe of this culture. I want you to roll. This would, however, be because you're so focused on you're not going to have your highest number ever here, since you're so focused on the like the dangers of this thing. I want you to roll another insight plus security, so it's a 12. But even though this is anthropology, you're only going to get doubles on it literally once.
Yeah. That is a double 19.
Double 19. So I gave you a difficulty 0. So you have succeeded because it's difficulty 0, but this was an opportunity for you to create momentum. That's what those are for at the beginning. We have no momentum. I'm going to nevertheless spot the team 1 momentum just because like somebody would have succeeded something at some point. So basically Veil is not helpful, but we'll put that in.
That's fair. No!
Isn't helpful, or Veil can't get a read on this culture.
I appreciate that more.
They're difficult. I'll say the sort of little twist at the end of Act 1 is that as Maxwell's going over some of these things, she will say, wait a second. According to this professor about 20, 30 years ago, he perfected, they should have warp travel. They figured it out. Act break.
Oh. Oh.
And we're back. So
How exciting.
So we'll have a staff meeting. You may be Veil in this meeting. We're going to do a little bit of role playing. So you are Veil.
Okay.
So Maxwell sort of says, Captain, something is strange here. This culture, despite their warlike bellicose nature, and in fact, possibly because of it, they developed warp travel. They developed the capability, and yet they haven't used it. It hasn't been applied. It seems that it's entirely possible that the person who developed it was killed because they developed it, which doesn't make sense. I feel like either side would have then used this technology. This does not seem like a species that upon unlocking a new technology would choose not to use it.
Well, could we assume that they know about Starfleet and the Federation?
Giles will say, we've seen no evidence of that. But we do actually have a way to stop the atmospheric disturbance. We can bombard the planet with our particle beam. Veil posits they know about Starfleet. And Maxwell says, yeah, I don't think they do, But that's interesting. The captain's kind of having to weigh these decisions. Veil, would you like to weigh in with your opinion on what should be done?
Well, according to Starfleet, we are able to make first contact with species that are warp capable, and they obviously are warp capable. It's our duty to help.
And yet they're not warp capable. They could not go to warp today or even in a year based on what technology they have at hand. Maxwell says that's debatable. They could probably get there faster. But the point stands, they're not a warp capable civilization. And they seem particularly bellicose, warlike. Isn't it?
Well, humans were too.
Yes, but by the time we developed warp, it was emerging from the war that allowed us to do so.
Well, perhaps the war is the reason why they were unable to achieve warp at the time.
Even so, something about this does seem strange, Commander Maxwell. You have the capability of ending this event. The question is, can we do so without being detected by them? And Giles and the guy will be like, we think we probably could. We can hide behind this moon, and they have some satellites and sensors, but I'm pretty sure we can stay, out of range and hide. We'll just have to, or we can send a shuttle in, harder for them to detect. The captain says, yeah, that might be. Could we do this from the footnote? Sennick says, I'm happy to fly it, etc., etc. So, the captain's really thinking about this. Maxwell says, given the fact that we could do this without alerting them, I do think that to do nothing would condemn 7 billion people to death. I think we have to take action.
It would be unconscionable if we didn't intervene.
The captain agrees. Very well. Mr. Senek, Mr. Giles, Mr. Dobbs, make it so. He doesn't say make it so. He has another phrase. Get to it. Whatever he says.
Do it.
Do it. Senek, Giles, and Dobbs will go in the footnote, less detectable. They'll retrofit the footnote. Retrofitted, with a particle beam. Nonsense, who knows? So, they get that set up. We're gonna do, then there's, meanwhile, Maxwell is still going through the data thinking something's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Senek, Giles, and Dobbs take the ship out. Why don't you roll for Senek? He's good at these, but let's just roll it as a... this is him, so it's a small craft, so he gets his thing. We'll say it's a con plus... it's not daring, he's just trying to be really... so it's a 16, and a 5 or lower is a... I'm going to say it's a difficulty 3, so let's... Okay. Why don't you spend the momentum? I'm going to say Senek will spend the momentum, so roll 3 d20s. You need 3 successes. You get you get a success on 16 or lower, and a double success on 5 or lower.
Okay. 13, 11, and 2.
13, 11, and 2. So 4 successes. So 1 more goes to momentum. So you bought the momentum back with that win. And Senek is able to perfectly fly the ship in so that it's like avoiding all their sensors. The guys use their they'll use their particle beam to fix it. On the bridge of the ship, where Vale and Maxwell and the captain are sitting at the stuff, there's random people in at the other positions where Dobbs and they are, and then Fial's at her thing. But the sort of temporary ops officer, the on-duty officer will say, "Wait, Captain, it's being reversed somehow. I need you to now make a roll. I'm going to give you one. I'm going to assist you once from the sensors of the ship, but this is actually a roll for Vial.
Okay.
I'm going to let her use the tactical systems because it's that sort of stuff. So this will be you're rolling it's to beat a 15, anything 5 or lower is double.
Okay.
And
Are we using momentum or no?
You can choose to if you want.
Sure. I'll use momentum.
Go ahead, so roll 3.
Okay. 2 17s and a 10.
Okay, so you only got 1 success out of those.
Yeah.
Fortunately, the ship computer gave you an 11, which is a success. So you got 2 successes. Which this was kind of a more graduated one, so I'm going to say that 2 successes is enough to realize that she says, "Captain, there's another ship in the system. That ship is doing this to this planet."
Oh, shit. Ooh. See, this is an episode that I would skip if I was stressed because it's stressful. But it's a good one. If I wasn't stressed, I'd want to watch it.
And we'll say that Act 2 ends with Viasa's Captain, we're being hailed. And at that point, a Vulcan science ship officer appears and says, "Federation vessel, please refrain from interference immediately." Act break.
Oh boy. This is intense. I'm stressed out.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
We will now cut to the Vulcans aboard the Noteworthy. And the Vulcans will basically make... Sorry, go ahead.
How many Vulcans do we have on board?
Senek.
Oh, that's it.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was established 2 episodes ago, and because he was the only one who didn't see the...
Oh, that's right. I didn't know if there was auxiliary crew that might be, I don't know.
There's not, because he was the the only reason is because he
that's
was
true.
yeah, it's like no, like it was, that's determined by events of the stuff. So Senek obviously will be present for this conversation. But the Vulcans are sort of saying, we are observing this incredibly warlike race. We've been very concerned about the possibility that they are going to develop warp capability. And as such, we have been watching them for the past 100 years or so. And upon sort of seeing this event that was beginning to occur, we are observing to see if they're capable of getting themselves out of the situation, rising to the event. But in this case, we had to prevent what you were doing from interfering, because it is against the Prime Directive that your Federation has put forward.
Aha, these skeezy bastards.
Wow, skeezy bastards, as we call the Vulcans.
No, don't put that in the thing. That wasn't in character.
You didn't say it out loud. I'm just saying, though, you, Lauren, think they're skeezy. Crazy.
Well, when they do stuff like that, yeah.
They're cool. They're Vulcans. I'm fine with them. So, it's logical. Don't say it's not logical.
Well, it depends on how far they went.
Obviously, the captain, I will say that no, we can do some role-playing in a moment. The captain is fairly kind of, like, swayed by this argument. We'll sort of say we will then simply watch with you. The Vulcans sort of suggest that's not necessary. You're only increasing the likelihood someone is observed. Increasing likelihood of observation. What is Maxwell's take on this? Oh, sorry, what were you about to say?
Well, if I get to choose, I think Maxwell is wondering how far the Vulcans were willing to go to prevent them, like how far they might be willing to go to prevent this particular civilization from achieving warp. Like, she's kind of maybe connecting the dots here.
You say that. The head of this Vulcan delegation, this woman, she will sort of look at Maxwell and say, "Is that an accusation, Commander?"
Oh, me?
Yeah, why not?
It's not an accusation, it's an observation.
Your logic is flawed. Our observations have indicated that this species has would never have, by virtue of the danger they're in. Our conclusions about this species are clear. Notice.
Have you
Good.
taken any tactical opportunities against this world? They can't lie, can they?
We have done nothing that is contrary to the orders of the Prime Directive.
Have you engaged?
We do not need to be interrogated here, Captain. We are operating under the auspices of Vulcan. So they're being cagey. Perfect. So, at this point, the Vulcans return to their ship, sort of, offering another warning.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, the Maxwell is probably saying, "Captain, we have to look into this." The captain's sort of backing off, so I want you on Maxwell's behalf.
Okay.
She's going to try to convince the captain diplomatically, so I'm going to let her use her diplomacy, which is one of her things. This is a command. It would be either presence or insight, and so it's 15, 5 or lower gets you 2.
Okay. How much momentum do we have?
Technically, we have 1 momentum because you did get 2 successes for Vial.
What? Sorry, how does it work again? Do we have 1 left?
We have 1 left, so you could spend the 1 we have to give yourself an extra die on this. Don't have to. It makes sense.
I'll save it for this.
Okay.
What's the difficulty?
Difficulty, this is probably only a 1 for the captain. He's not, Captain's kind of easy to convince.
18 and a 5.
An 18 and a 5. So 1 doesn't work, but the other one does. So actually now you have 2 momentum in the tank.
Okay.
Unless you want to spend it now to have her be even more persuasive.
Sure.
Okay,
I'll go
so
ahead.
basically, Maxwell manages to convince the captain. I'll tell you what. She knows the captain won't is like no, we can't do the particle beam. What she managed to do is convince the captain we have to investigate this war. Like we have to look at the records. She's like, I think the Vulcans caused this stuff.
Yeah, there is reason to believe that they did something.
All right, so act 4. Okay, so the act break. Act 4. All right, so oh, hello, apostrophe this. Thanks for joining us. These are super casual, so I'm totally talking to chat and pulling it up here every now and again. So you are here for episode 2 of 2, where we're going sort of much kind of looser and more kind of like just sort of feeling stuff out.
Yeah.
Let's both for our own minds and for whatever catch you up on this episode so far. This episode is called Counter Prime. And it is a Commander Grace Maxwell centric episode. Basically, the Noteworthy has, while on a sort of survey mission, has come upon a planet that is on the cusp of warp capability, that is being threatened by an atmospheric disturbance that, if nothing is done within a few days, is going to kind of ignite and kill all life on the planet. The crew,
casual fun
the
stuff.
crew debated whether or not this planet was kind of like whether or not the Prime Directive would prevent them from helping these people or not, because they are sort of on the cusp of warp. They're also very warlike, very militant. They have a lot of like killer satellites, aimed inwards, that kind of thing. But the crew decided to try to save them. They sent a little kind of covert ship to do a particle beam to get rid of this atmospheric disturbance. But then that was thwarted by a hidden Vulcan ship who said you cannot interfere because of the Prime Directive. The Vulcans were invited to the Noteworthy. They sort of explained their position, and Commander Maxwell got the suspicion that the Vulcans might be responsible for some of the things going on this planet. They refused to deny that, which for Vulcans often means, since they can't lie, etc., etc. So, with that, Maxwell convinced the captain to allow her to investigate what the Vulcans might have done. Here's Act 4. You said this was already too stressful?
No, make it stressful. It's
Okay,
fine.
cool.
I would just skip this episode.
Understood.
Me, Lauren.
You wouldn't watch
Me
this
in
one
this.
a lot. See,
Totally fine.
I already really like this one. So, Maxwell.
I like it. Stressful.
Maxwell realizes that records of this are in some of the most secure areas on this planet.
Mm-hmm.
She realizes they're not going to be able to get it through computers. They have to go onto the surface in the midst of apocalypse.
Naturally.
They have to go down there. So,
Yes.
what's the away team?
Uh,
Let's say it doesn't even have to be 4. She might not take. She could take 2 red shirts or yellow shirts in this case.
probably. Who's that? Senek? Can she take him?
Senek? I'm gonna say Senek is. I'm gonna say she won't take Senek. He would be willing to, but he may be needed to negotiate. He may be needed to interface with the Vulcans.
Okay.
And I'm gonna say she can't take Grim because he will be too you guys are you'll have some weird head ridges put on whoever goes down.
Yeah.
Is it her and Vial? Is it her and the security?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Vial. Yeah. And then a couple of,
Yeah.
people who will have 2 lines and then probably cease to exist.
Understood. So they head down to the planet. So Act 4 is a super stressful thing as panic is setting in. The planet knows that it's about to be destroyed. A lot of people. So it's kind of like a war zone. A lot of people are doing stuff. So for Grace Maxwell and Vial, I went for Grace Maxwell. Could you roll this will be a daring security. It's a 13. This does not give any bonuses. So just roll off. So you're trying to hit a 13. Difficulty is. Let's make it a 2. Let's up this stuff. But I'm going to have Vial assist her.
Okay.
And Vial will roll her own daring security here.
A 15 and a 5.
Okay, so the 5 helps. This is not any of her stuff. So the 5 is a success, and I rolled a 12 for Vial. Alina Vial has the same stats as her for those things, so she also did a 13. I rolled a 12. So with that, you do get 2 successes. So Act 4 is the more action-packed, fight their way into a compound, get info on the warp stuff, and beam back as one of the first atmospheric trigger things happens and that city is destroyed.
Mm-hmm. Stress. Intense action.
It is at this time that so she presents the info for analysis, and it is discovered that the scientist who created the warp tech destroyed it himself, fearing what his people would do to the galaxy beyond.
No! Oh, man.
So Maxwell's like, oh, darn. So there's almost a thing of like, oh, no, it's like a reversal. And okay, so. That being said, act break.
Brutal.
It is brutal, but at this point, Dobbs, maybe with some newfound whatever, I'm gonna have Simon assist with this, but I would like for you to make a roll on behalf of Mr. Dobbs. Could you please roll this will be an engineering and reason. Oh, wow. I'm even going to give him a focus on this. I'm going to say I'm going to let him use his power system focus on this for Dobbs. So it's a 17, 5 or lower gets you 2, and I'm giving him 1 assist from Mr. Giles on the same science reason. Engineering reason. Gotcha.
17 and an 11.
Those are both successes.
Yeah, I know.
And I can't do doubles. I rolled a 2. I can't do doubles for that, but it will be 3 successes. I'm gonna because this was a graduated level of success. Dobbs finishes his analysis. So basically, Act 5 starts with Maxwell really glumly settling in to watch the planet destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
What does Vale think about all this?
I mean, she's heard all of the information, right?
She has, yes.
She just feels bad for Maxwell, and she doesn't think Maxwell... She thinks Maxwell's heart was in the right place, and that it's just really unfortunate because she, like Maxwell, likes to see the best in people, and it's hard to see an entire species imploding because they don't have good in them.
Maxwell's like, I can't believe that a species like this that's so close. The fact that the scientists destroyed warp for that reason shows me they should have it. Or at least they have the capability to deserve it. At this point, beep, beep. Commander, it's the lieutenant. I think there's something here you need to see. Senior staff. With the captain, minus the captain. Without the captain. Minus captain. Dobbs, because of that 3 levels of success that he and Giles got, shows they've hacked the satellites. The satellites are not really set up for the kinds of analysis that they've been having to collate the data. 2 months ago, an energy beam, a very focused energy beam, which could not have been a natural thing, fired into the planet and seeded it with what is now becoming this apocalyptic disturbance.
What? Can they determine the origin? Or
Not with the data we have available. It's spotty. I'm just saying that I'm confident in saying, and I'm pretty confident. Giles, are you confident? As confident as I am when I talk to women. Yeah, as well. Not that. Anyway,
Ooh.
the point is, it's. I don't think this was a natural phenomenon.
It's not looking like it.
Maxwell says. Mr. Seneck, Mr. Giles, Mr. Dobbs. Go back to the note. Go back to the footnote. Take it in. You have to undo. We have to save this planet. She says, "I will talk to the captain." And they kind of look at each other and they say, "Ooh, make a roll for her." Wait. Also, do you want to have her say anything to like inspire them or to convince them of this that you can think of?
Just that, and it's more to herself that she's gonna say, I knew that everyone has the capability of good.
Except Vulcans, apparently.
Well, they can be good.
All right.
They have the capacity for it, but they're assholes.
She's making the thing. I'm going to ask you to roll. This is not super hard for her, but let's just roll it just for the sake. A presence and command. It's a 15. I'm gonna let her composure be applying here. She's kind of
Okay.
whatever. No, it's a 17. Just it's a 15. So roll. She won't get a focus on this.
Difficulty.
Difficulty is 1. The crew trusts her. The crew trusts her as well.
True crust her. That is a 14 and a 1.
So that's 3 successes.
Yes.
All right. Do you want to spend those on her inspiring words to these guys now, or do you want to save them? The 2 extras. And you already have 1.
Them.
You'll spend them. So basically, They kind of make a look, and she goes, "I'll tell the captain." They go, "You can, but you can wait until we're, already underway." So basically, they're 100% in the tank for what Maxwell's saying. At this point, Maxwell sort of shakes her head and says, "Well, we still have to talk to the captain." I think though she inspired Vale and Vial, and like everyone's on board with what she's saying. So basically, this might be a huge turning point episode, and it's just happening like just now. In any case, she's gonna go tell the captain. So Maxwell's going to try to once again convince the captain. We're going to use diplomacy on this one, but it's still going to be a command and a presence. So it's a 15, but 5 or lower will get 1. You do have you have 1 momentum. Also, actually, wait, no. I'm going to do something here.
Okay.
I'm going to have her spend a determination.
Okay.
And I'm going to have her determination be, this is going to challenge one of her opinions. She's going to challenge one of her things. So actually, this means, like, this is going to add a complication to the situation. There's going to be some stuff. However, at this point, she will challenge the system works, though slowly turn the gears.
Okay.
So in other words, she has always been a very institutionalist, for most of her life. But at this point, she's kind of saying, "No, wait. So sorry. Sorry to throw everything to the halt when we're here at the end. But I do want to. I really want to get this right from the way this game works. Okay. Nah, say something fun about Star Trek while I look. Sorry.
I love Star Trek.
Well,
I can't be put on the spot.
I apologize. Say something that you can say about no matter what the circumstances.
No matter what?
Just talk about anything you're passionate about. Talk about hair.
No, I'm not passionate about hair.
You're so good at it from last night, though. Yes, please.
Tribbles. I'm
Talk about
passionate
tribbles.
about tribbles. And what I've done recently to make my iPhone background, I don't know if y'all can, hold on. I don't know if you'd be able to see it, but I did create art, AI art, um, and my prompt was pretty tribbles. And I have been so happy with what has been coming out of that. And it's my iPhone background because I love them. Because they're cute and fluffy, and they do have hair. So it is related to what Philip was saying. I can talk about triples for quite a while, actually.
You're
Fun
great.
fact, the first thing that I ever got sent because of my social media presence and my love for Star Trek was a giant tribble. It's about the size of a basketball. It's currently in my room, though. It's usually back there. But I was so thrilled to have it. I hope that that person has made many sales on my just exploiting this tribble because I put it in everything. Adopt a tribble on Instagram is the name, and she has an Etsy store, and you too can buy a giant tribble.
I didn't want to interrupt your tribbles, but I am ready to go back whenever we're. No, you're great. So, with all of that in mind, things are super tense as she races. So I've looked this up. So basically, here's a fun thing: she is challenging one of her values, and we are crossing it out. So she is basically changing this value of how things must sometimes work really slowly and institutionally, because she knows those Vulcans were obfuscating, being shady, and they weren't willing to give diplomacy a chance. That's Maxwell's whole thing. It's like, let's talk it out before you walk it out. So she's rushing the captain. This means she is spending. She gains a determination, which I'm going to spend immediately. So basically, whatever die you're rolling here, you do have 1 momentum left.
Okay.
You want to spend that?
Yes.
Okay, so you're going to roll 3. This is going to be diplomacy. This is her whole life, her whole thing. So this will, once again, this is going to be command and presence. So it's 15, roll 3 d20s on a 5 or lower. However, there's a one last thing I got to say about this. On a 5 or lower, it's 2 successes. You also have, technically, there is a 4th d20 on this that has been set to a 1. That's what the determination gets. So you already have 2 successes. So this is all about, like, all you want to do here is develop to get as much momentum as possible to, you want as much momentum as possible in order to like, kind of like have this go your way to put on top of these successes. So, however, because of the circumstance, an 18 or higher, because she's challenging her stuff and this is risky and reckless, 18 or higher is a complication.
Okay.
So rather than just a 20.
What was the difficulty again?
Difficulty is 15, and a 5 or lower gets you a double success.
No, the difficulty is...
Oh, difficulty. I'm sorry. The difficulty of this is graduated. So even a 1 will give you some degree of success. So basically, as you're about to roll this thing, Maxwell, she runs onto the bridge and says, Captain. The captain says, was there an unscheduled launch? And she says, Captain, yes, I've sent them. She explains all the stuff they've determined. And so this is her convincing the captain. But she also says, get me the Vulcans. And Vialik opens a channel. Captain's like, no. And the Vulcan's like, what is this about? Like, we've detected a ship leaving your whatever stuff. She makes his impassioned speech. Go ahead and roll it. 3d20.
A 17, an 11, and a 12.
Okay. The 11 and the 12 are both successes.
Yeah.
The 17 is not a complication.
Okay.
And then she gets 2 more successes. She has 4 successes on this.
4. Uh-huh.
Okay. I will say that with 4 successes and no complication, she makes this argument, and the Vulcans say, no, you must stop. And she says, she's basically, we have to give them the chance. We have to, like, let the opportunity. They're whatever. The Vulcans, basically, based on her words, realize that they're not going to win a battle with the Noteworthy. And the captain kind of, like, nods to Maxwell and says, no, you're I'll agree with this position. So the Vulcans do not... You basically... A victory of a lower thing meant you were going to have to fight the Vulcans a little bit. But... Yeah. Or complication means you definitely would. Point being, the Vulcans accept these terms. They accept that they've been outmaneuvered. They still don't admit that they did what she's accusing them of, but they just say, Nothing was outside of the Prime Directive.
No, it was. Wait, wasn't it?
Yeah, but
Shooting
the Vulcans, sort of, the Vulcan person at the front says, they were a warp-capable species, after all.
Semantics.
Well, persuades
They were dealing with that too. It's
the
fine.
Vulcans don't stop, and the planet is saved. There have been some disasters, obviously. She was there for one.
Yes.
Vulcans explain they didn't lie, wasn't against Prime as the...
Are we sure they're not Romulans?
They're not Romulans.
Can Quincy...
No role required. They're not Romulans.
They're not.
They're Vulcans. As they were a warp-capable species. I'm going to say there was a subplot in here about Vial siding with not helping them, because she's like, what if we're like creating another... What if she's like what if it's another Cardassians?
Fair. But what if it's another Trill?
Exactly.
Ooh, heavy. Heavy.
So,
Well, I'm glad that we had both a really fun episode and a really stressful episode, because that's how Star Trek goes.
the end of this, however, this will end with like more of like a cliffhanger or not cliffhanger, but like a kind of like a more whatever beat. It ends with the captain. Are you cool to do one more bit of roleplay as Maxwell?
Sure.
The captain will sort of say, Commander, he kind of calls her into the ready room. Commander, I do feel that the right decision was made today, but I can't say I'm completely comfortable with your actions.
Well, sometimes I feel the same about yours, Captain.
Yes. As such, even so, you are a commendable officer. That's why I'm recommending you for a promotion to captain.
You want me off the Noteworthy?
I think don't you think you've outgrown this place? I know you wanted an assignment aboard a diplomatic vessel, but apparently the sides of diplomacy that you care about are making grand gestures and negotiating treaties rather than actually playing the politics that makes negotiation and diplomacy possible.
Well, I believe I bring that balance to this ship, and it is much needed. With all due respect, Captain.
So you don't want to be a captain?
Not yet.
Very well, Commander. Night shift is yours. He kind of just, because it's about to be night, it's not like a thing.
Yeah.
And he just kind of dismisses her.
The lights. Phew.
And then we sort of the camera looks back as we see him hit send on his recommendation for a promotion.
Oh no! He's such a bastard! I don't like this captain.
So, with that. Ooh, that was a 10th episode, sorry.
Oh, it's okay.
I liked that one though.
Do you think that's what she would have done? I think it is.
Yeah, I think she would have said in that say. I think so. I think there would have been a certain temptation, and probably before this episode, she might have said yes, thank you so much. But now she's like,
Yeah, exactly. She's realizing. Well, because her episode with Vale, it was her realizing the captain doesn't know shit a lot, or he knows shit, but he doesn't do the right thing a lot of the time. And this ship,
he's playing
on
a
this
different
mission,
game.
needs her.
He's not so happy that he, this makes awkward with the Vulcans. Of course, those Vulcans were clearly going a little rogue.
Yeah.
Now, will there be a follow-up episode to this when that planet is warp capable and they are causing fucking trouble, there
Yes.
will be. But fun stuff. So yeah, I kind of like this. I like this vibe. What did you think of this? And anyone in chat, please reply as well. What do you think of these kind of like this format? These kind of more like storytelling, like not really like a role playing game, a little more just kind of discussion based. You know, I think they're kind of interesting.
I like it because it feels like when you're telling someone about an episode.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what
Describing
I mean?
or just like reading the memory alpha.
Yeah. But like for me, when I tell people about an episode, I'm like, this happens, that happens, and then they have this conversation where they say that, and like I know the exact dialogue, and then I'll just go on and be like, and then this happens, and da 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 da.
Yeah.
So that's why it feels like that to me.
I like these. I also think weirdly that doing two at once means you have to go faster in like a good way, you know?
Yeah.
So I think that will probably be maybe not every like I know that like we haven't done one of these for Alina Vial, we haven't done one of these for Simon Giles. Like for them, we might do kind of a longer mini format for a them-centric episode.
Yeah, I think like player characters they should be a little longer, but like
These
for
kind of-
NPCs,
these
the
NPC kind of things.
the PCs can be a part of it, but not
A Dobbs episode, and I like that Maxwell episode. Maxwell's a more interesting because everyone didn't like Maxwell in her first appearance with the creation of Grimm and everything.
I like her now.
Maxwell is no different in that episode. She was saying basically the same things in that. There's a sort of there's like a brusqueness to her, but I feel like Maxwell's actually like a pretty. Do you know Max? Here's a little thing. I haven't even revealed this at this point. We will do an episode about this. I'm sure Vale knows all about this. Maxwell's name is not an accident. Maxwell was. Do you know what planet Maxwell's from?
No.
Maxwell grew up on a planet called Setlik 3.
Wait, no, that's not where 7 is from, is it?
Nope.
No. What? Tell me.
Oh no, we'll leave that for. You don't have to look it up. That's just the point. Is Maxwell's got some. There's some like.
No.
There's some.
Okay, I understand.
There's some connections there, although Maxwell may not have opinions, because Maxwell was. This was all kind of it's been gone for a while. Maxwell was deeply opposed to the Maquis.
Yeah.
And Maxwell's whole point was that, and she, as someone who grew up on Setlik 3, her whole point was, we should never have been on those colonies. That was a stupid place for my family to go live. She was like, this was a everything about that was a diplomatic disaster. And like, though she like respects that the people didn't want to be cleared from their settlements, like, it's like tough, whatever. We're part of a federation. Sometimes things like unlike Captain Maxwell, who famously appears in a Next Generation episode, if you just found that out, who's her uncle. Anyway, so we will have a whole episode about that. Don't you worry. There's going to be a Vial and. Because, like, I'm sure that Vial and Maxwell share the fact that Cardassians killed their whole families.
Yeah.
And they have very different perspectives on it. So at some point we will have an episode of that. But Maxwell's interesting. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
So.
No, this is fun.
With that, thank you all for watching. We have a million other shows. Check us out on Sundays and Mondays for our Star Wars games, on Tuesday for our Murder by Murder game, on Fridays for our horror game. Our horror game last night was back in Merkshire. Thought that was a really fun one. I'm really excited to be back there. I've got some fun stuff planned and kind of some sort of new tricks, old tricks, revelations come together. So that's next Friday. A week from Friday will be our next marquee Star Trek Adventures game on Friday night with the whole crew. And then get ready at the end of October for the Blood from a Stone takeover. 7 days in a row of Blood from a Stone. Deeply excited about that. So thank you all so much. This has been a lot of fun. Until next time, to transport.